Halo. Aside from Pokemon, this has got to be my favorite franchise of all time. Despite me currently maining Apex Legends to no end, it did haven't taken a back seat. My start with this fictional universe, like millions of other people, started off in 2001. Christmas Day, my cousin's house, watching him play the game on his Xbox. Though I knew nothing about the game at the time, I still vividly remember him playing what I now know is his second mission of Combat Evolved and him driving around in the Warthog. I remember asking, "So, you're Halo?" Thinking that the game's name was the name of the main character itself. He replied, "No, this is Halo," before looking upwards in game at the surrounding environment. But, being the terrifyingly easily confused gamer that I was back then, I missed what he was talking about and saw one of the high cliffs with the tower behind it and, for whatever reason, thought I saw a yellow circle around them, thinking that you had to complete various stages in order to access some sort of tower. I watched him play Mario 64 a year or two back, which more than likely was the reason for that line of thinking. Regretfully, due to me being a Nintendo and PlayStation kid at the time, the idea of getting an Xbox for anything never crossed my mind. And so, after that day, Halo easily left my mind as it continued with my beloved Game Boy and PlayStation. Some years later, though, during summer, while at my babysitter's, after getting bored playing N64, I looked through the Xbox games that they had in the cabinet underneath the TV and came across the title, Halo 2. Recognizing it, I decided to pop it in to see what it was about, and suffice to say, I didn't know what to expect, nor was I disappointed either. Just seeing the Bungie intro for the first time sent shivers down my spine. Seeing the little blue pills as the camera zoomed out, watching them as they formed a blue earth, combined with the Mjolnir music, to say that I felt as though I stepped into a new living and breathing universe would have been an understatement. And after a couple seconds of fading to black, the title screen hit. And boy, did it hit. The dark blue background, the camera panning over the bridge and the Covenant ship above it, the choir and music. It legit felt as though I were listening to something sent straight down from the heavens above. Something telling me to be the hero humanity needed, to stop the Covenant, to protect Earth. So obliging the feeling I had gotten from the music, I pressed start, made a profile, and began a new game. I sat through the opening cutscene, not really following, let alone understanding the story, other than alien in gold armor getting in trouble and Ringworld blowing up by what I presumed had been by the man in the green suit. Then, when Armory and Cairo Station started up, I immediately found myself being sucked into the action and events that were taking place. Seeing the soldiers who had fallen against the enemy aliens, along with the somber music that played, it motivated me to try and continue to protect my fellow Marines. I wish I could say I played as heroically as I felt I needed to be, but considering the fact that I wasn't used to first-person shooters at the time, I often found myself struggling to walk up a simple flight of stairs as my brain was just learning how to use two joysticks. Needless to say though, that didn't stop me from finishing the rest of the level, let alone the game. Hell, probably my favorite part about playing Halo 2 back then was just driving around the vehicles and trying to squeeze in through every nook and cranny just to keep them as long as possible in the levels. The only other memories I remember vividly from that time was going through the entire game mailing every single enemy since, for some reason, at one point, I always wanted to preserve ammo and never use it. I still don't understand it to this day. And then the last bit would probably be finishing the final level, actually paying attention to the last cutscene, hearing Master Chief say,
Sir, finishing this fight.
and thinking to myself, well, I guess Chief just goes back to Earth, saves humanity, and has a happy ending. Thinking wasn't exactly my strong suit back then, so predicting that there would be a sequel really wasn't a thought that I had. Anyways, that would be the last time I would play Halo 2 until I met my at the time best friend. Main thing I remember from those days is him teaching me the difference between friendly and enemy aliens when playing Arbiter missions. As I said before, easily confused gamer.
Dude, what are you doing? Why are you killing our team? Bro, you shoot the ones marked red, not green. Are you fucking stupid?
Join the battle.
Dude, what are you doing?
However, through him, I also found myself not only watching an E3 trailer for the first time, but the trailer for Halo 3, and its presence sending a new shiver down my spine. Naturally, we proceeded with our co-op sessions when it finally released in 2007. Of course, he had played it solo first before doing co-op with me, but had helped me understand the story as we went along. Combine that with fooling around in Forge, and I was sold. That Christmas, I made getting an Xbox 360 and Halo 3 my top priority, and needless to say, that 25th of December changed my life forever. Not only did Xbox become my main console of choice that day, but for the next several months, all I did was eat, sleep, and breathe Halo 3. Whether it be playing the campaign on easy difficulty to stop Truth, the rings from firing, and the Flood, which back then was actually my least favorite part of Halo 2, just because of how creeped out I was back then. Please come back. Then switching it to normal difficulty so that I could find all the skulls and unlock Hayabusa armor. Relaxing in Forge mode where I drive around vehicles for hours on end, then switch off and fool around with the weapons in the sandbox. Or even look at the setting of the map itself and wondering, what could have transpired before my Spartan arrived there? To be fair, Halo 3 wasn't the only game I owned or played during that time for Xbox, but certainly got the preferential treatment. And that treatment would only grow after I had gotten Xbox Live during summer of 2009. Playing multiplayer, Team Slayer, Lone Wolves, wanting to prove that I was the best Spartan of them all. Halo 3 Online had also become the place where I had started hanging with school friends. as well as meeting my first Xbox Live friends, all of which I'll remember to my dying day. It was also during the summer that I had found out about Halo 3 ODST, and although its trailer didn't send shivers down my spine like the original Halo 3 trailer did, its music and atmosphere had sucked me in nonetheless. The first chance I got, I made sure to pre-order it since I didn't want to wait for the holidays, nor did I want to miss out on the opportunity to play as Sergeant Johnson for the new Firefight mode. Being the impatient teen that I was back then, I remember thinking about it every single day till the game came out and how I played it from late Friday night till around 12 a.m. Saturday morning. Thank you, Mother, for going to your sister's that weekend. While Halo 3's themes and vibes gave me a sense of heroism and confidence, ODST had done the opposite. From the very start of the game, jumping out of your drop pod, taking health damage, being reminded of the fact that you weren't this super soldier, but this regular soldier. Be it of a higher class, but still more vulnerable. It felt different, refreshing, but unique. This more isolated feeling the game presented you with. I even remember that night my sister walking in, seeing the road signs and the lights on the ground in the game, showing where to go and her saying, "Look, it's your mysterious friend showing you where to go." And that aspect of the game making me feel safer in that lonely city. Of course, as the game progressed, the tone changed a bit and night turned to day as the mood changed. But unforgettable it still was, especially with the ending cutscenes, showing key story points of Halo 3 and Johnson in the post-credits scene. It was a nice reference to connect the two games. Now, as far as ODST's Firefight mode is concerned, while I do love it, and I did play as Johnson and completed Legendary difficulty to unlock Recon Dare for the mode, there's not too much I can say about it other than it was good. It was a good wave defense, and myself trying to get 3 others to unlock the Endure achievement. Due to Halo ODST having no real multiplayer though, I would soon find myself back on Halo 3, playing matchmaking for hours on end, both solo and with my high school friends. Most memorable moments being goofing around on Forge, and then my buddy Caesar V. Thunderful betraying me a lot during Infection at 12 a.m. Saturday mornings. You lovable bastard. This would last for a period of time, at least until Halo Reach Beta and Halo Reach itself came out. Those who had gotten a copy of Halo 3 ODST were able to access the beta of Halo Reach. And man, I know that Halo 3 was fun, but once I tried out Halo Reach, there was no going back. The beta itself felt nothing short of an upgrade to what Halo 3 was gameplay-wise. Different, but gorgeous art style. Enhanced customization. Solid gunplay. Sounds. And just the gameplay itself. After it ended, I would do nothing but watch clips of it all day and try to find any updates that I could every day while at school. To add further fuel to that fire, when Bungie released their Halo Reach Forge vidoc, I squealed at all the upgraded features they added to it. The rotation snap, phased physics, fine editing, a new editing camera. Things that I only dreamed of being a feature with Halo 3. Then came the trailer for Spartan Will Rise, which introduced you to Noble Team, the main characters of Halo Reach. Which, again, did not help impatient teenage me. Like with ODST, I pre-ordered the game and got the limited edition and played it once the weekend hit after release. But, unlike ODST, I hit the multiplayer in Forge first to get my immediate fill, then proceeded to the campaign. May I say, to this day, I personally placed Reach's story next to Halo 2's. While Halo 2 pulled the rug out from under you and was a political thriller, this game showed me a war story which I never expected to receive. Going into it, I knew that Reach would fall, but what I didn't expect was to watch your fellow Spartans fall one by one with you being the last to perish. It gave so much weight to the story which I never saw coming since I was always used to seeing stories where the main character had survived. Dark as it was, its end cutscene reminded of the fact that while you may not have been the hero that saved the day, everything that you did wasn't in vain. That in delivering the package, you passed the torch, which allowed the next 3 games to happen, which enabled the Covenant to be defeated, humanity to be saved. Themes and ideas which still impact me to this day. And naturally, once the campaign had been completed, I proceeded to play multiplayer every single weekend, wanting to grind XP, to climb through the ranks as fast as possible. Moving originally from Team Slayer to Team Objective, to living in the Invasion playlist, to including in the occasional Infection match every now and then. Heck, I even remember back in 2010 having a printout of all the Halo Reach ranks in my room and checking off each one as I hit them. And for anything after General Grade 5, listing a date for when I aim to reach it. But considering I never made it past the Halo rank, that sheet didn't exactly age well. Anyways, Halo Reach would for the most part continue to dominate my thoughts and time until an E3 trailer showed up for the following year in 2011, showcasing a remake to a game which I had missed out on prior.
10 years ago, Halo changed the way we play video games. 10 years ago, Halo introduced millions of fans to an incredible new universe and delivered billions of hours of entertainment. That was 10 years ago. This is now. The campaign of the decade, remade and remastered. Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary.
The idea of owning the original Halo once again made me ecstatic to my core, even more so than the idea of the remastered multiplayer maps that came along with it. So, when my birthday rolled around 3 days later after the game released, I of course made sure to grab it, and would play the campaign until I found myself stuck on TNR or the Silent Cartographer, at which point I easily moved back to Halo Reach's multiplayer, prepping myself for Halo 4, which would release the next year in 2012. Are we noticing a pattern yet? Now, while I would like to say that when Halo 4 released, I had a grand old time with it like I did Halo 3, ODST, and Reach, it's actually where I found myself dropping away from the franchise for a decent while. Don't get me wrong. Like with all new things, I played it non-stop when it first released, but whether it be due to a lack of friends to play it with, its progression system failing to hook me, or something else, I just wasn't as addicted and would find myself spending more time on other games. What I find poetically ironic about Halo 4, though, is that while it may have killed my desire to grind multiplayer in Halo for a while, its campaign, which I finally decided to check out 2 years after its release, reinvigorated my love for the story and its universe, making me appreciate and love the characters that I had grown to know over the decade more than I already did. Coincidentally, the same year I decided to play through Halo 4's campaign would also be the year that the Master Chief Collection would be released. A game that not only came with a remaster of Halo 2 for the new Xbox, but brought Halo CE, 3, and 4, as well as Reach and ODST later down the line. Combine that with the marketing that not only hyped up MCC, but the next Halo game as well, and I was back on board. This time, however, was different. This time, I not only wanted to play through all the campaigns again, but I wanted to do it on Legendary. What I now felt was the proper way of doing it after being a fan for so long. And it handed me my butt on a silver platter. To which I'm actually grateful, because if it didn't, I never would have looked up guides on how to complete the games on Legendary. Never would have found speedrunner Mr. Monopoly's GDQ speedrun of Halo 2. Never would have gotten into learning how to speedrun myself. Never would have clicked on the Twitch stream of ProAceJOKER, who was speedrunning Halo 3 ODST at the time, and someone who I now consider to be one of my greatest friends. MCC had not only supercharged my interest back into Halo, it had done so with vigor. And seeing the advertisements for Halo 5 in that following year only added to that feeling. When its beta had released, a buddy who I met on Advanced Warfare and I played it for hours on end. Just like with Reach, I soon fell in love with its visuals as well as its gameplay. It was sleek, futuristic, with cool-looking modern mechanics like sliding and thrusters, and Spartan Link ADS. As did a couple times prior, I found myself pre-ordering the new Halo game. Counting down the months, then the days, then the hours until its midnight release. My first midnight release for any game. And how ecstatic I was that it launched on a Tuesday, a free day sandwiched between 2 days of college. My father driving me that night to my local GameStop, seeing no one else on the road, and meeting fellow Halo fans who were also wanting a copy of the game. Following my newer tradition with Halo 4, I started off with a couple multiplayer matches of Breakout, saving the campaign for when I had woken up. And similarly to MCC, I went all in with Legendary difficulty. Hating some areas, but loving any that had to do with progressing the Chief's story when it came to dealing with Cortana since Halo 4. I would finish the campaign following several days after its release, being admittedly distracted by Halo 5's Breakout mode. But afterwards, did nothing but Slayer, Objective, and Warzone, where I would go on to spend most of my time. Eventually, Forge would be added a couple months later, with Infection releasing further down the line as well as other content. My grind though with Halo 5 would end once I hit around level 115, after feeling that I had gotten my time out of the game and that it was time to move on to something else and play other games. That is, until late 2020, when I saw a blog post about the next Halo game, Halo Infinite, and that those who had reached max level in Halo 5 would get a special armor coating for the next game. Care to venture a guess as to what I started to spend all my free time doing? 40 hours a week, on top of a part-time job, every week for the next 5 to 6 months, going from level 115 to level 152. Here's a little picture to help explain that insanity. It's only once you get through a bit of level 150 that you're halfway to 152. Anyways, aside from the depression that the grind had given me, it had also allowed me to meet other dedicated fans from the community. And while the grind itself may have been torture, the time spent playing with these people were some of the most memorable, humorous, and fun social experiences I have probably ever had with the Halo game so far. From learning how to immediately eliminate bosses, to accidental betrayals, to hearing some of the shenanigans that they caused, Tuss like 12 stacking a regular Warzone game for a break and beating the other team in like 3 minutes. Whenever I think back to Halo 5 now, those memories are the first things that always now come to mind. And I'm always going to be grateful for that.
Enemy core at 25%. We've taken out the enemy core.
Let's go!
Halo Infinite. Like with previous Halos, this entry and title has also given me some new first-time experiences. From being part of an online E3 watch party in 2021 with several other fans for its campaign and multiplayer trailer, to taking off a day from work just to play a video game on release, to beating Lasso in a Halo campaign for the first time, Infinite continues Halo's work in leaving new and fun experiences in my life, including ones that I know I still have yet to experience. Since its launch, this game has had a rough beginning, from features being delayed to outright cancelled. It's been difficult, knowing the sheer potential this series has. But there's a reason this franchise has been able to keep me around for as long as it has. It's fun, enjoyable. Whether it be messing around with the in-game mechanics, or having fun with its creative modes, to goofing around with friends, every entry has had something that could offer me and that I could always look back on fondly in one way or another. And with the winter update that just got released back on November 8th, I can only imagine what future experiences this game holds. Just seeing all the creative worlds people have already built in the new and upgraded Forge, I can only wonder what the community creates and the devs come up with for the game after some more time has passed. Whatever it may be, I'm sure it'll be fun to watch if not play. Before I sign off this video, I just want to give a quick thanks to anyone who's managed to stick around for this long. Commentaries aren't my usual type of content that I make, but I really wanted to share my story on Halo. Also, it's good practice for any more that I may do in the future. With that said, I hope you've all enjoyed, and until next time, Graywolf out.